Hello, and welcome back to the Men Becoming Better Men podcast. I am your host, Nicole Harmony, along with my co host, Bob Wisher. And how are you doing today, Bob?
I'm doing awesome. Can't wait to just get this weekend going.
It's
Got a
been a
lot of
long
exciting
week.
things going on this weekend.
Boy, I tell you what, this new moon energy is bouncing stuff out of our field faster than a prom dress coming off on prom night. It is insane energy going on right now. I don't know if anybody else is feeling this, but hold on to your butts, seriously.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into this week's topic, which is the topic of loneliness amongst men, right? And really the dangers of the lone wolf mentality that we can all have, even women. I've had the lone wolf mentality before and have had to heal from it and kind of shift through it in order to serve the men, actually. But yeah, so let's just dive into this a little bit more. And right now, I'm not going to speak in towards the intimate relationship. I'm going to speak towards the friendships and the tribe and the relationships that men cultivate amongst other men. And an interesting statistic that came across my plate was since the 1990s, the percentage of men that have no close friendships is at 15%, and that is a 5% or 5 times increase to today. And to make that more visible for people, let's say that you have 20 male acquaintances. And that means that theoretically, 3 of your male acquaintances will have no close friendships at all. And also in the 90s, more than half of the men, which is 55%, reported having at least 6 close friends. Now, today in 2023, that number has been cut in half. And how sad is that? So, just to make this clear, think about 3 of our brothers that do not have close friendships. And for those that do, they have just 3 people, men or women, that they can confide in. And that's heartbreaking to me. And at the same time, helps to bring more clarity to the suicide rate that is amongst the men. And let me just add a little bit to that is this week on Facebook, there was a couple of people that posted in the late hours saying that they were ready to give up and they were both men. And what was so heartwarming to me was that the amount of people that showed up and were like, the world needs you, tomorrow needs you, don't give up. This is trying to reflect back that this happens to all of us. And, you have the tools and you have the support to make it through, to push through. And that's what we need to do. We need to have, even if you're not sitting next to somebody and you're not texting them every day, just having that support and knowing that there is that support out there is so crucial. And so I would love to hear your thoughts on that, Bob, since you
Yeah.
yourself experienced losing a brother recently.
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually, the statistics are kind of staggeringly low as far as I can tell. 15% just seems way too low to me based on the
Yeah.
number of men I've talked to who aren't in intimate relationships or have a best friend that they can trust. Um, I would actually gather from that statistic that the men are being polled aren't even being honest about their situation. That's how bad a shape they're in. Kind of like when you
Mm.
ask people how many sex partners they've had, you know, it's kind of like everybody exaggerates. And when you ask me how many friends I have, oh yeah, I have tons of friends. Yeah, I actually, there was a man that came into our group a couple weeks ago. He's like, I'm here because I have no friends.
Mm.
I've heard men
Mm.
say that exact thing. That's why men are showing up at this group is because they do not have those friends. And I can tell
Mm.
you personally, I was around in the 80s and 90s when this poll was supposedly taken. I guarantee you I didn't have 6 close friends because I
Mm.
actually I as I read through your show notes previous to um getting on today, I actually had to think right now today of the 6 men that I would consider that the and I came up with more than 6, but it took me a second to go, oh yeah, him. I called him by name, and they're it's not like men are falling all, having these big groups of men that they can trust. I mean, I have 30 some men that I want to trust as part of men becoming better men, but I don't have the intimate relationships with all of them to where I'm telling them all my deep, dark secrets all the time. So plus probably a fine line there too, as far as what you can really handle.
Mhm.
As far as, having those kind of relationships, it's a little, if you're not tuned to it, having more than 6 men coming to you with the issues they trust, it could be a little much. Um, but yeah, I completely agree that it's definitely a contributing factor with suicide, because I'm sure in this last case, my friend that took his life a couple months ago, I'm not sure that even that would have made a difference, because
Mhm.
I know he knew I had his back. So so that means he had at least one man he could trust, because I know he was telling me some deep dark stuff, but I don't know how many, does it take for me to have 6 men that I can trust, so I know that I'm going to be immune to feeling horrible enough where I'm going to do something drastic? Or, was it one? Is it three? Is it five? Is it how many men does it take to be in your circle of trust to where you're going to feel enough comfort to not do that? So yeah, to put it back to the lone wolf kind of um, thought process, being by yourself, definitely no bueno. Having one, it's a great step in the right direction, but that might not even be enough.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And um, it's interesting that, like, what is it with men that breaks the barrier of being able to confide? Because you yourself just said, I have 30 men around me, but I don't necessarily confide. And, until I know that women are much more adapt to sharing their feelings and being emotional and being vulnerable. So what is it with men that prevent them from doing that? Like, what is it?
Fear of vulnerability and weakness. They think it's a weakness to have to come to another man and say, oh, I'm having trouble with my wife, or I can't deal with this boss anymore. It's a sign of weakness, and men think, making it up. If you're thinking, you're making it up. Um,
Yeah.
that's just not true. That it's actually a sign of strength for a man to be able to come to another man and say, hey man, can you just listen to me word vomit for
Yeah.
5 minutes? Let me
Yeah.
get all this. And it's funny. One of the men in my group, we talked the other day. Um, it's 100% of the reason he comes is just to word vomit, and it makes him
Mm.
feel better because he's dealing with some family
Mm.
stuff. He's dealing with some work stuff. He just gets it out of his system, and he feels better, and he can go on and face it every day because he
Yeah.
has that. He has that method or that means to let it out.
Yeah. And, like you said, the vulnerability, it takes confidence in your masculinity and as
Yeah,
being a man in order to be vulnerable.
yeah.
And and you said with men, so do men find it easier to confide in a woman? Like, I know that my male clients, they find it much easier to confide in me and share with me, being a woman, rather than going to a male healer, a male coach, or a male mentor. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, it's just unfortunate that we have these mentalities of needing to do everything on our own and being, on these islands by ourselves. And, not to overshadow suicide, but, the lone wolf mentality may affect our health, our relationship, our goals. And I have to give credit to Connor Beaton, and he's the author of Men's Work. I'm not sure if you've read that book or not, but this is where I pulled some of these statistics from that I'm using this week. And he said that a loneliness experience was performed by the BBC, and they analyzed data from over 46,000 people globally, and revealing a higher frequency of loneliness in men, and specifically younger men, which I found was very interesting. But that the loneliness not only impacts the mental health, but it's also your physical well being, increasing the risk of death, and contributing to non communicable diseases. And then the research also showed that long term loneliness can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes per day. 15 cigarettes per day. Like that's crazy talk.
Unbelievable.
And that's why it's so important to mention that loneliness does not necessarily mean full and complete isolation. You can be around and or in the wrong with the wrong people and still experience loneliness, right? You can be in the wrong relationship and experience loneliness. And loneliness can also look like not needing or accepting the support of others. And I've got it, and I can figure it out on my own because I'm a man mentality. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, it's just yeah. That as a person who was lonely in a marriage for 3/4 of it before my divorce, it's yeah. Um, and I've said this many times. Men are taught this at a very young age, and it's repeated over and over during our lives, from competition in sports to attracting girls to the classroom to jobs. It's always everything's always a competition. It's like we're programmed to always be in competition. And I can remember the days when I would look at other men with such contempt because I felt like he was going to take my spot in some way, whether it was at work or in a relationship or on a sports team. And it's ridiculous thinking. And I get there's a fine line between teaching winning, losing, failure, all that, and participation trophies. But we've got to find a way for men to understand there's a difference between the battlefield and the bench. Competing when it's appropriate. When we're on the field, we compete. Whether it's if we're competing for a piece of business, a contract, work, or literally in sports, football, baseball, whatever, we're competing. We're on the field, yes, but when we're not on the field, we need to be loving and supporting each other. It's like women do, but in a masculine way, not women do it their way. We'll do it our way, but the fact of the matter is we have to do it, because if we don't, we're just going to keep and having to mourn our brothers who decided that enough is enough.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And the way that the women do support one another is that we want we want to see you win. I mean, at least majority of the women. I know that there are women out there that don't, have that mentality, but the men would just adopt that same mentality where there's a difference between a manager and a leader, within the corporate world. And the manager is somebody that micromanages and, takes credit for, your doings. And the leader is the one that's like supportive. And we all need to be leaders. We all need to be leaders of our lives, and we all need to be leaders of our brothers and our sisters. And, so going into the intimate relationship, let's just start to unpack a little bit about how the lone wolf mentality is not really doing any favors within the intimate relationship, right? And, it's the belief that the final 5% of healing happens within the intimate relationship. And, why is that? It's because we inevitably trigger one another, and we are going to mirror back to one another the shadow parts of ourselves. And if you don't have that intimate relationship, if you're not getting those triggers, then how are you going to see those shadows unless you're, working with like somebody like Baba Rai? But, these are the places where the healing needs to occur. And I know, the men are like, I posted this on social media, and the men were like, I 95% of me, that's good for me. But as men, do men want to win 95% of the time, or do men want to win 100% of the time? What do you think?
Well, like I just said, we're always in competition, and we want to win 100% of the time.
Yeah, exactly. We want 100% of the trophy. We don't want 95% of it. We don't want the, the little, whatever, wing cut off.
And I don't want a participation ribbon either. I don't want a participation ribbon.
Yeah, exactly. So, in order to be the best version of yourself, for you, for your loved ones, your kids, an intimate relationship is the appropriate training ground for this. And so there's no accountability for your actions if you're not in an intimate relationship. If you're currently going on the journey of self development, there's no measure of growth there. And then sex becomes more of an act of masturbation rather than actual true connection. And then plus, we're divided. Like the government has been creating for decades. We're easier to control when we're not in an intimate relationship. So, guys, men, women, whoever is listening to me that is saying and buying into the BS that is on social media of you're better off being alone, you're better off being single, you have more money in the bank, you da 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 da. Guess what? You're not winning 100% of the time at life if you're avoiding being in an intimate relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Bob, being a married man, can you reflect for the listeners how your relationship has been integral for your own personal growth and journey?
Absolutely. My amazing wife Lisa has been a gift from God for me. She came into my life
Mm.
just at the right time. And when I was that man that we discussed earlier, I was friendless, alone, broken, and ready to pull the plug. She showed me what love truly was, because the previous 19 years, I thought I knew what it was, but I didn't. And
Mm.
her love made me draw closer to God, which drew me closer to the
Mm.
men around me. And loving men around me now allows me to do all the things I do to help men heal. And part of that is learning how to be in relationship in a healthy way, which starts by healing the other parts of yourself that have been decimated by the ways of the world in your past. I truly
Yeah.
believe that that starts with gaining control over anger and feeling like you have a purpose, because you won't even be able to let go of the wheel of your past and be able to help you find consistent peace and true purpose if you don't do that. So if you don't work these things out, you'll act them out in healthy ways, and one of those is repelling intimate relationships without even knowing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That says a lot there. It's interesting because I have a theory that I've developed over working with the men and women, in the previous years, and I feel like women enter into the journey of self development and healing and growth for themselves, and men, not all men, I'm saying majority of men enter into that growth and journey because of a woman, either a
Yeah,
woman that they lost
yeah.
or the woman that they're trying to keep.
100%. Actually, I had a client back when I first started coaching. The only reason he became my client is because his wife made him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not,
and he
I
didn't lie.
don't know about
He didn't even
that,
complete the program. He fizzled out in the middle. He couldn't. He it was so against the grain of what he
yeah.
wanted for himself. He petered out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's to be expected because it wasn't his choice, really. I mean,
Yeah.
he was kind of, his hand was forced type of thing, an ultimatum. So that's why it is important, for as a man, if you're wanting to do this level of work, it is for you, and really like focus on that. I mean, yeah, it's going to be great for your intimate relationship or the woman that you're trying to attract, but really do it for you because it's going to change your life. It's going to
Hmm.
change others around you and what you attract into your life. But at the end of the day, this level of support and work is for you.
Yeah.
It's really sure.
And
Yeah.
I'm a perfect example. I was there. I was broken. I was ready to give up. And
Yeah.
if I hadn't hired a coach and started doing the work and learning about myself and growing and growing and growing and growing, and then meeting my wife, and it's been definitely this
Yeah.
trajectory. I started here, and it's now, you know, and I'm still moving. I'm still moving up. I we talked in our pre-call about how my life is still moving up. It's endlessly abundant when you're able to get your arms around it and heal those broken pieces and get on a path. It's
Yeah.
just, and
Yeah.
and
And
it's fun. It's a thrill ride.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And, the healing journey is kind of a roller coaster too, because you can be
Mhm.
going up and then you kind of start to descend. But when you have tools and you have the framework and you have the support, you can quickly go back up. You
Oh,
don't
for
have to go
sure.
all the way down in the roller coaster.
Yeah, it's like
I
three steps up and one step down, and three more steps up and one
yeah,
step down, and you just keep, you're
exactly.
gonna fall back because you're gonna learn things and you're gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna, all the mistakes that you should have done in your 20s and your 30s, you're
Hmm.
making in your 40s and 50s, and it's an up and down, but as long as you're making more steps up than you back down, you're still
Yeah,
moving forward. You're
yeah,
still moving up.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been kind of experimenting with the emotion code and, releasing the trapped emotions. I'm choosing things on my body that I'll physically be able to see change, right? So I started with my nails. I've always had short, stubby nails with like all these ridges on them. And so I did some emotion code around it. And now I have healthy, and I'm growing out my nails for the first time in 25 years or something like that. I mean,
Oh,
it's incredible. And then I think it was yesterday, I have diseased gums and have always had receding gums. So I started doing some work on that. I did a before, after, or before photo so I can, kind of see my progress. But your trapped emotions can create so much within your body and in your life. And it's insane to me how, um, finding this level of work, how I'm watching just these huge transformations in myself and then the people that, I'm honored to hold space for
yeah.
doing this level of work. So, and that leads us into what we're going to call the releasing of the trapped emotions, which it's the same thing. It's the energy clearing, but we're just going to rename it releasing of the trapped emotions because that's really what we're doing. And so, men, Bob, are you going to participate? Nope. Okay. So, men, and if you're driving, please pull over. Do not do this while you're driving. And we're just going to start by focusing on our breath. Go ahead and allow your eyes to close. And if you feel comfortable, have your palms on top of your thighs, facing up so you're open and ready to receive this clearing of your trapped emotions. And I'm going to have you take a deep breath in and hold it. I'm going to give you a phrase to repeat silently in your head, and then you're going to exhale it out loud and deep. And just listen to my voice for the prompts. Here we go. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all anger with nobody understands me. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all anxiety with nobody understands me. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all fear with nobody understands me. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all pain with nobody understands me. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all unworthy with nobody understands me. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with belief with nobody understands me. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with enjoyment with nobody understands me. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with safe with nobody understands me. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with love with nobody understands me. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with trust with nobody understands me. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all anger with I don't feel worthy of support. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all anxiety with I don't feel worthy of support. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all fear with I don't feel worthy of support. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all pain with I don't feel worthy of support. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all unworthy with I don't feel worthy of support. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with belief with I don't feel worthy of support. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with enjoyment with I don't feel worthy of support. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with safe with I don't feel worthy of support. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with love with I don't feel worthy of support. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with trust with I don't feel worthy of support. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all anger with I have to do everything on my own. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all anxiety with I have to do everything on my own. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all fear with I don't have to do everything on my own. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all pain with I have to do everything on my own. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all unworthy with I have to do everything on my own. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with belief with I have to do everything on my own. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with enjoyment with I have to do everything on my own. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with safe with I have to do everything on my own. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with love with I have to do everything on my own. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I release all blocks with trust with I have to do everything on my own. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I am so happy and grateful that I am understood. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I am so happy and grateful that I am worthy of support. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I am so happy and grateful that I am supported in all ways. Good. Take a deep breath in and hold it. I am so happy and grateful that I am open to receiving better than I can imagine in all areas of my life. Good. Take a couple of deep cleansing breaths. And when you feel comfortable, you can open your eyes. And if you participated in this releasing of the trapped emotions, please know that this is very deep energy work, and to honor your body for the rest of the day. Drink plenty of water, as you will be removing toxins from your body, and then that makes it easier to remove the toxins. Rest if you need to rest. And that is all today from Men Becoming Better Men. And I want to add that if nobody has told you today that you are loved, you are worthy, you are seen, you're heard, and you're validated. Bob, would you like to add anything before we go?
I just want to thank the men for being here and thanks for supporting us. Like, comment, follow, etc. The usual stuff. I know we were talking earlier about getting feedback and the fact that we don't get a ton. And I know I commented to Nicole that I listen to a lot of podcasts and I don't give a lot of feedback either. But we really do appreciate it, and we like knowing you're there. We can see that there's people listening to the podcast, but having some feedback on the things we're talking about. Just if it's resonating, if it's not resonating, maybe what you'd like us to talk about. That's always an option as well. Feel free to throw some suggestions in the box, whatever. But we just want to support you. And like she said, and like I've said before, we love you, and we appreciate that you're here, and we just want to support you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great add-on. If you're not liking the content, let us know what you would like us to talk about, because we are here there for you. We're here to support you and your journey. So reach out and let us know.
All right.
That's all for us today. And thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.
See ya.